What's up, everybody? I'm Blessed and Free. Welcome back to another episode of DOC TV. So, man, I just wanted to say thank you to everybody that has subscribed to the channel. It means a lot, and I appreciate you. I know none of this would be possible if y'all aren't watching. So, sometimes in life, like for me today, I look back on a lot of the shit that I've been through and that I did, and I'm just like, damn, dog, like, what the fuck were you thinking? And this is going to be one of those stories. So back in 2010, I'm renting a house with this chick. She's at work. I'm living that life, selling pills, hustling, getting anything I can by any means necessary, basically. And one of my homeboys had called me and he's like, hey, I need this and this. And he was talking about needing pills. He wanted to buy some pills off me. So at this point in my life, I was on felony probation. I didn't have a license because, the life that I was leading, that's the things that get you. It gets you, hooked in with the state of Florida to where they got their claws in you and you aren't allowed to do not a fuck thing without getting in trouble for it. So he called me. My girl was at work and she was going to be home soon. So I was like, all right, man, I'll meet you at a gas station. So I was in Pasco. I was meeting him at a gas station on Main Street. Anybody watching this knows which gas station I'm talking about. So she was getting off work. She comes home. I'm like, yo, so-and-so wants this and this. I was like, let's ride out. So now, mind you, I don't have a license, but my dumb ass was like, I got this. I'll drive. Now, I had 36 months felony probation at this time. And I had like 6 months left. I don't even know how I got 30 months of it completed this far without, getting violated. Well, I do know how. I got away with a lot of shit is really what it comes down to. But this night, I chose to drive. Now, we're driving. We go to the gas station. I meet the kid. I get out of the car. I get in a car with him. We're counting shit out. Now, he only had enough money to get a certain amount of each pills. And he wanted me to front the rest of the pills to him until whenever. And I learned my lesson with that shit a long time ago. So I was like, nah, bro, it ain't like that. I need the money, bring it to the wood type shit. So he didn't have the money, so he didn't get the pills. He got some of them, but not all of them. I get back in the car, bust out of the gas station. I'm headed down Main Street. Now it's like 8 o'clock at night. It's just getting dark out. And I'm driving down the street and I look over and in the parking lot, there's this white unmarked Dodge Charger. So I'm passing him and immediately I look down at the speedometer and I'm going like 15 miles an hour over the speed limit. So I'm like, fuck. I already knew what was going to happen. So I'm just driving. I even go faster because I'm going to pull up to 19 and need to make a right. And I was just going to bust a right real quick, bust another right real quick, and then get out of the car and run. Because I knew he was coming after me, speeding, don't have a license, on felony probation. I'm not going back. That was the thought that was going on in my head. So when I'm headed towards 19, I'm looking in the rear view. I see, boom, he hits the lights. So I bust a right and I'm yelling at the girl that's with me that I'm dating at that time. Yo, stuff the pills, like put them, where. And she just wouldn't do it. So I'm like, give me the fucking pills. So I reach over and I grab the pills. And I just tossed them all back, grabbed a drink, chugged it, pills are gone. Now I don't have to worry about that. So then I bust the other right, and I realized when I'm busting that right that I looked back in the rear view and I seen him just turn the first right. So I'm like, damn, there ain't no way I'm getting away with this shit, man. So I busted a right on an alley between buildings, and there's these parking spots on the right and the left. So I was nervous, man. I'm not going to lie. Like, I fucking yoked the car into the parking spot and I just opened the driver's side door and started to walk down the street. The cop pulls up. He gets out of his car. He's like, hey, where are you going? And I'm like, and I turn around. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, what are you doing? And I'm just like, I was going for a walk. What are you talking about? And he's like, are we really going to do this? And I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, there's a car parked right here with the driver's door open and a chick in the passenger seat with the car running. He's like, are we really going to do this? So, at that point, like, I already knew I was caught before I even got out of the car. But, I tried to okey-doke him, but that didn't work. So I was just like, man, whatever. If you're going to arrest me, let's go. I knew I wasn't getting out. You can't get a bond when you're on felony probation, especially with a new charge, unless you got some fire-ass attorney or you're telling on somebody. At this point, like, the pills are all starting to hit me. Like, I'm kind of like leaning. And so I don't even remember getting booked into jail. I know I went through booking. I went through the classification dorm. And then I get to my main dorm. I was in B dorm at Land O'Lakes. So I get in the dorm, and you guys know, anybody watching this that's been arrested multiple times in and out of the system, that when you get to jail and you walk in the dorm, you're usually going to run into some people you know. And that's exactly what happened. Right when I walked in, they're like, yo, Jay, da-da-da. And it's like a fucking reunion in there. I'm just chilling. We're in the dorm, and like 24 hours goes by. I'm still fucked up. Everybody's even like, dog, you are faded. And that's because all the pills were hitting me that I'd swallowed before. And so one of my homeboys, like, I've known him since like high school, and he came in my cell and he's like, yo, listen, man, they're robbing people straight up in here. And not really robbing them, but more like stealing. And I'm like, well, ain't shit happening here with me. Like, they got to come get that shit. So he's like, I know they wait till people go in the shower. And it come to find out it was the Bloods. They were in there and they were just stealing people's shit. And, you know, for me, that don't get no respect. Now, if you're going to walk up and be like, yo, give your shit up, I want this, that, and the third, and you take dude's shit in front of him and he doesn't do anything, that can get some respect, but not like, oh, when he goes to the shower, slide off in the cell, grab his bag, we'll switch this and this, and then bring it in here. That don't get no respect. So, like, immediately I already, like, had it in my mind, like, because there's only a certain amount of time that I can be in a dorm in jail and watch that shit go down over and over again for, like, I start to feel some type of way. Even if it has nothing to do with me, that was early on doing time. I come to realize later that, like, I didn't feel any type of way about it, because a lot of these people that come to jail will come in and they'll get their shit took and they won't say a fucking word. They'll just act like they don't even know their shit got stolen and go about their day. And that's what made me realize, like, you know, I'm not going to fight for somebody that won't even fight for their own shit. You know what I'm saying? That's what happened. They would wait till these little white boys came in the dorms, fresh in, look like Frodo or Harry Potter. Dude would hit commissary. Commissary comes, he gets his shit. He goes out on the poker table or the spades table or even in the shower, and they run up in his cell, grab his whole $75 order, get gone. You know what I'm saying? And so anyway, so when my boy's telling me this shit, I'm sitting on the desk in the cell, and like the pills are fucking hitting me. So the next thing I know, they call the count. I'm in the cell talking to him, and the next thing I know, I'm in the medical. So I guess, like, after we were talking, I was sitting on the desk in the cell waiting for them to be counted, and I fell off the desk and hit my face on the ground and had a seizure. So I don't remember this, but I'm learning all this later, you know, people that were there and saw it or heard it. So I go in medical, you know, all I remember is waking up. I'm on the floor of the cell in J-Wing, and the nurse is like, who's your president? What day is it? You know, what year is it? And I'm just like trying to answer, but I didn't even really fucking know the answers, honestly. Like, I was just trying to get my bearings back. And the only reason I know this is because when I was in the cell, I had a bunkie in the cell, and he was telling me this shit a couple days later. So about 7 days go by while I'm up in medical in J-Wing. You know, they didn't have a kiosk, so you get a commissary sheet. So I'm filling out the commissary sheet so when, you know, put my order in for when commissary comes to that dorm, I can get my shit. So about a day later, they tell me roll it up. And so I pack my shit. I go back to the dorm that I first was in, that I fell off the desk in. So I go back, people are telling me what happened. I'm like, damn, like they're telling like, man, you fucking cracked your head flat on the ground and all this crazy shit. So when I'm in there, I hear commissary outside the door. So I had been into this jail for a couple visits, and I knew who the commissary guy was. His name's Officer Gargiulo. So right when he comes into the dorm and he's doing his commissary, I'm kind of waiting to see if maybe my name gets called, and it followed me from medical to to the dorm I was in, but I didn't hear it at the end. So I run over to him and I'm like, yo, man, I was in medical. I put my order in. I just want to let you know because you may have it out there instead of bringing it all up to medical and I got to wait a week. Can you just go out in the bubble and see if my shit's there? So bam, he goes out in the bubble, my shit's there. Now, as I'm walking back into the dorm, going into my cell, the cell next to me had like 3 bloods in it. And they're like, man, get in your fucking cell so we can come off lockdown. And I'm like, listen, bro, that's my fucking canteen. I'm going to make sure I get it. If that was your canteen, you'd be out there doing the same thing. So they roll my cell. I go in, put my shit up. Boom, they call lockdown. So I go out of the cell. I go over to my homeboy in another cell because I haven't seen him in a minute. We're just chopping it up. And the blood comes into the cell. And he's like, listen, man, like, we're just trying to make sure, like, basically, he was copping deuces. But, like, I didn't want to hear that shit because I already knew what kind of person he was. And even his bunkies, they were the dudes that were robbing people that I was telling you about. So I was just like, yeah, man, it's all good, whatever. And kind of blew it off. So there was this kid in the dorm named David Hernandez. He was a big dope boy out of Zephyr Hills, and I kind of became tight with him, and we would just vibe and shit throughout the day. And we started gambling on the spades table. So we're playing a bunch of ducks, getting easy money, and the 2 bloods had came over to the spades table with like a soup each, and they're like, yo, what's up, man? Let's run a game. So, like, I already knew at that point, like, it wasn't just going to be, we're going to play a game, we're going to lose, they're going to lose, and we're going to pay up and bounce. So, and man, was I right. So, I'm playing with David, we're partners, them 2 are partners, and we start playing. We're bidding, we're slamming cards, just doing our thing. And the other kid, the blood that was next to me, to the left, he kept talking shit. And every time he was talking shit, he would look at David and be like, yeah, bitch, you got stuck. Yeah, bitch, you suck. Right? As he's slamming the cards, cutting his books or whatever. So David like hits his hand on the table and he's like, yo, bro, keep that shit talking on the table. Don't be looking at me and saying bitch and all this crazy shit out the side of your neck. So the kid's like, man, who the fuck you think you're talking to? Da-da-da, and starts talking. And David just boom, drops him right at the table. So I was like, damn. So I automatically look over to my right thinking his homeboy's going to jump in because his boy just got his shit split. And he didn't do anything. He's just standing there. I'm waiting for him to move because I'm just going to drop him too. So this time, like, David's like, yo, man, slide up in the cell. And David starts walking up the tier into his cell that's up in the corner. He's already in a side cell. So the officers had come in. They heard like, the commotion or saw it from the bubble. They pull out the dude that got his shit split. His eyes swollen black. He's out in the bubble as he's walking away with the officers. He's looking back like fucking smiling at David like, bitch, you think this is over type shit. And it isn't. So they bring him out there. They let him come back in. Nothing. Nobody said shit. Nothing happened. They saw his eye. He said he fell. The whole fucking roundabout story that we tell the cops when we're in there. So he comes back into the dorm now. Like all his brothers had came up to him. They're like, yo, what you want to do? So I walk upstairs where David is waiting in his side cell. And I'm like, man, what you want to do? If they want to run it, I'm like, we're running this shit. Because like I said in the beginning, I already didn't like them because they didn't, I didn't respect what they were doing, basically. So in Land O'Lakes, they have 2 dorms. Like it can be, A1, A2, B1, B2, and the dorms are connected so the officers can go in and out of each dorm. So the Bloods go over to the other dorm and they're telling all their brothers over there. So like 10 of them come into the dorm we're in. And now, I'm not going to lie, these dudes weren't big. There were no threat, put it that way. But, when you're fighting 10, 15 people, it doesn't really matter how big they are. So, but I was ready, man. I was ready to run it with him. He was definitely ready to run it. So we're up on the top tier. They're all on the bottom tier talking. And David's like, yo, bitch boy, fuck boy, come on upstairs, get your fade. He's like, quit being a little bitch, and selling him out in front of the whole dorm. So what they did was we're on the top tier. All of a sudden we look over at the stairs and there's this 5'5", 135-pound dude soaking wet with quarters in his pocket. The bitch could hang glide on a Dorito chip. He comes walking up the stairs, cuts the corner, walking to the cell and you could see all over his face that he did not want to do this. So he comes walking over the cell, and me and David are like, bro, what are you doing, man? Like, what do you got going on? Why are you even gonna come up here? Do you realize the dude that sent you up here just got a shit split, and he's sending you on a dummy mission to get your ass kicked? And so we're trying to talk some sense into this young kid because we see what's going on, but he don't see what's going on. And that to me is crazy, like how a man can literally be sent on missions and think it's the right thing to do. It's just, I don't understand it. I didn't understand it then. Definitely don't understand it now. So we're talking to the kid and we're just like, man, just turn around, go back downstairs and tell him you don't want to be a blood. So this motherfucker goes downstairs, tells him what we told him to tell. He said, I don't know, this ain't for me, da-da-da. So what do? What y'all think they did? They pulled him in the cell and beat his fucking ass in the cell. And that is what I didn't respect. And that's why this whole shit started. And I'm telling you this story because it's so easy to get wrapped up in shit when you're locked up and think that like, this is the way I need to do time. But sometimes you just got to do your own time. You gotta step to your own beat. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't do your time for somebody else, because half the time these people that are doing that are just being used as a push button. Like they're literally might as well put a helmet on and fucking wreck their head into the wall over and over again. And when I'm telling you the stories, I'm not trying to glorify any of it. If anything, the reason why I wanted to tell this story, because I sit back some days and I'm just like, reliving different shit I've been through. And I'm just like, damn, like, I can't even believe some of the shit that I've seen, that I've done, that I've been through. But hey, I made it through it. And that's what counts. And anybody watching this that feels like they can't change their life, you can definitely change your life. But hey, I just want to thank everybody for tuning in. If you like this video, you already know, man, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel. I got more stories like this coming soon. And with that, it's DOC TV, and I'm out.